Good day, traders. This is Rich with some price action on the market. It's currently 4:02 p.m., November 9th, 2020, Monday. Vaccine? Are you taking it? Question mark? Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, comment on the video, and we shall continue going forward with trading. Big news. I actually watched 60 Minutes 2 weekends in a row. One was before the election, and one was last night. And I watched the beginning was about the election, and then the middle segment was about this vaccine coming out of Pfizer. I'm listening to this thing. I'm like, they're mass producing. They're spending billions of dollars mass producing a vaccine that hasn't been approved yet. I'm saying to myself, is this really going to happen? And then this morning, they come out and give you this huge announcement that this is groundbreaking. Biggest story in 100 years in medicine. All this stuff. Is it real? It has a 90% effective rate. What are we supposed to believe, I mean, yeah, you can't. Sometimes you got to trust science, but I will not be taking a vaccine for at least a year. That is for sure. Unless I'm forced. I mean, they had the military controlling all this, and it just has me sketched out 100%. But whatever. We'll see how that all plays out. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I had a good weekend. Today was interesting. Just the markets are ramping up. All the out of players were in play, and all the big players were getting beat. As you can see, we ended 181 down on the NASDAQ. I think we saw like 1,700 on the Dow Industrials. Big stocks were making moves. We were looking at Boeing up 23 points at one point, 25 points. We're looking at United Airlines, all the out of players, all the vacation players, all those guys. And the ones that are getting hit are the tech. Even Apple, Tesla, BYND was crazy. I'll talk about BYND in a second. It was a flip. The market flipped to different players, which is great. Allowed some setups to occur. I traded big on Roku on Friday, and Roku was down today. Zoom was down at like 90 points at one time, and now I finished like 60 points down or whatever it was. So now I'm looking at BYND. BYND has earnings coming out. I knew it was November 9th. For some reason I thought it was Thursday. We have earnings on what do we have earnings on? We have earnings on BYND, NKLA, Tilray, NVAX, ACB, INO. So I'm going to watch those as I'm doing this video, and we'll see what happens. So I started my day, and it was across the board. We're talking multiple platforms on multiple brokers, just not handling the influx of data, and things are crashing out pretty strong. Fortunately, I did not get stuck in any trades, but I was definitely seeing some significant slowdowns on my entries and exits. I got into a Boeing trade, so I'll go up $200 in my favor. Got out with 50 shares on 300 out of 300. Within a second, it just flipped over, and it was down a point. And I'm like, what just happened? How is this even possible? Again, Boeing takes time to open up. Just remember that. Boeing takes time to open up in the morning, especially on a Monday. You got to give it 5 minutes. You just have to. You can't trade that initial move in the first 5 minutes, and I did, and I lost $80. I ended up trading it a little bit later. Ended up making like 50 total dollars on the stock, but I was down 80, so that trade was about 100 and whatever it was. Can't even do the math right now. 170, which was a nice flip, and Boeing was in play. And I'm looking at BYND right now. It's trying to crawl up here, 153.45. But there's some news that came out. I'm seeing look at the level 2 print. So that's a bad print. Look at that, 153.45. And look at these prints. So someone just got hammered with that, or this was an errant tick. That would suck. But anyway, there was news that came out that McDonald's is now going to produce McPlants, so plant-based foods at McDonald's. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, oh, really? I think this was announced many months ago. Well, guess what? BYND, I traded up here. I made this move up here. And then seconds later, from like 165 all the way down to 145. The news was that they were going to compete with BYND. Excuse me. So time went by. Time went by. And around 1:30, they announced that there's a deal between McDonald's and Beyond. Right back up. I almost jumped in at 160. I missed this move, of course. Tried to jump in at 160 and just took off to 170 before peeling back. But at the end of the day, it ended up being down $4, but that's based on the overall NASDAQ market and its earnings coming out about, the next 10 minutes or so, even sooner than that. But I was able to catch that earlier trade, which turned out to be really nice, was the break here of the 160 level. And I got like 2 points out of it, made $167 out of it. And so between Boeing and Beyond, I was able to walk away with $211 on this Monday. It was definitely a better trading in the morning because everything kind of faded off after that huge gap up. No one likes a huge gap up, and then day trading after that, it's really difficult to get some follow through. I'll keep my risk in check. I only traded 200 shares on that Beyond trade, I believe. I was going to go a little bit more, but that Beyond trade was based on, okay, we're in earnings day, markets are super up, and Beyond's only gapping up a little, and it should continue a little bit. It wasn't a pure setup like I've seen in the past. The trade I did miss today was on Tesla. I forgot to mention this one. It's a 2-minute chart. Let's go to a 5-minute chart. Well, it should have been on 2-minute, but you can see here, candle here, boom. Call was 440. Don't get me wrong. I was on the buy button at 440. Notice I'm at 420.20, but 440 was the price. Everything paused. I'm like, oh no, I'm missing it. And I pressed the button. It was at 441 by the time my order was actually entered. That's how fast it went. And it was just a big 10-point, 12-point miss. I hope to get that back tomorrow or the next day because it did fade big time. Headed down to 421.39. I looked to enter at the 420.20 level. Just small shares, just to kind of have fun with it. But no big deal. Anyway, no news yet on Beyond yet. The news has not come out. Wait, it has. What? No. It has not come out yet. Still waiting for it to come out. And once it does, I'll post a little note possibly in the description, so check that out. So make sure you like the video, share the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that. And I'll be back on Tuesday to continue this week. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.